You're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day, or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. I'm your host, Graeme Forsyth. Tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme is brought to you by AETi, Evolve Green, Caisse Financial Group, Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, and TOVI Hockey. Wow, already screwing up already, but excited for tonight's edition of the show. I'm going to have maybe 4 people joining the show, but 3 joining the show for sure. That is for certain. And this first player joining tonight's edition of the episode, a player who plays hockey, of course, like the guests that I have here on the show. And her name is Laci Gaffray. She is a former Eastman Selects U15 AAA defenseman. She has started her college hockey journey this season with the Assiniboine Community College Cougars women's hockey team, playing at the Division II level in the ACHA Division II conference in college hockey. And I had a chance to have her on tonight's show, or I'm going to have a chance to have her on tonight's show to talk about, what the college experience has been like for her so far this year, what the hockey experience has been like for her so far this year, as well as talking about the past weekend of games her team had last weekend and what is on tap for the team coming up, as they got 3 more games left on the schedule before they start their journey for their second national championship. So stick around here after the intro of tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme, and I'll be joined by Laci Gaffray, number 12 defenseman of the Assiniboine Community College Cougars women's hockey team here on Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. On this edition of Coffee with Graeme now is Laci Gaffray, number 12, first-year defenseman from Silver Falls, Manitoba, of the Assiniboine Community College Cougars women's hockey team. Laci, thanks for taking the time and joining the show here tonight on this Thursday. How's college been? I mean, your first year in ACC, still staying in Manitoba. The team's been having a successful season so far. I'm sure you've met a lot of great teammates so far this year as well. Can ask for anything better so far, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's been a bit of an adjustment from high school to college, but my instructors, my classmates, my teammates, and coaches have just made it a smooth ride. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, you came over with some girls that you played with on Eastman last season, but what's that been like meeting a bunch of new teammates this year?
It's always been fun to build new friendships, and we're a very close group of girls, which makes the hockey that much fun. More fun. And just playing with the girls that I played with Eastman, it's just we build our relationship more and more stronger, and we get to share that and play the game that we love.
Yeah, and how cool has that experience been, just playing with girls that you played with last year into college? Now you girls starting a new journey and getting to experience it with them this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we already have a connection on and off the ice, so the on ice part, we don't have to build a new connection. We already have that, so it's easy to find them on the ice and feel comfortable with them and make more time to build a relationship with the other girls.
Let's move into what you're taking for schooling at this point. You're in the public safety course. What went into choosing that for yourself as the first course that you're taking at ACC?
Yeah, I've always been interested in law enforcement, and becoming a police officer. I know a lot of police officers, and my uncle is a police officer. So just hearing about what they go through and being able to make a difference in my community is just something that's always been on my mind. And now ACC had a great program that I could get a first look into becoming a police officer. So I was really excited that they had the course there and I could take it and play some hockey too.
Yeah, I mean, you get to play the sport you love while taking something you're very interested in, and great to know that it's a great course. What's the course been like so far? I mean, has it been difficult in your opinion, or is it something that you just enjoy a lot, that it kind of comes second nature to you?
Well, the course is intense and hard itself, because going into the field of law enforcement, it's going to be intense. There's been a tough couple moments where it's like, can I do this? But I just put my mind to it, and I have a great instructor, and she's done nothing but help me and make sure that I could still play some hockey. My classmates, they're a fun group of people, and I'm one of the youngest, but I just get to see like their kind and their experience and learn and build off of them.
I had a chance to speak to your head coach, Tony Bertone. He said that you'll be coming back to take the social work course for another 2 years. Is that rumor true? Is that true what he's saying?
Yeah, that's true. I applied for it. I loved the school and the program so much, the hockey program, that I didn't want to end it now. And a social work is another great program that will help me build my education there.
Yeah, and great that you'll be able to stay with ACC for another 2 years while taking this course. Speaking of Tony Bertone, I mean, he's been your head coach this season. Obviously, your first time being coached by him. What's that experience been like so far, being coached by Tony Bertone?
It's completely different from Midget. He's always smiling, and he always wants to encourage us and make sure that we aren't down on ourselves and just play the game that we love. His laugh can make you laugh, so that's awesome, having in the dressing room and on the bus. And he's never negative, which is it's hard to find coaches like that. And he always has something positive to say, so that we as a team can build and not be down on ourselves.
Yeah, Tony's a guy that I've interviewed many times here on the show, and he's nothing but smiles every time I have him on. That you girls are able to be coached by him. What's it been like for you, handling the schooling as well as playing hockey this year? Those two things going hand in hand. What's that been like, adjusting to that as the season has gone along, of balancing the two?
It was a bit slow at start. We couldn't cross the border, so I was able to focus on my studies and kind of organize myself. And I knew that this second half was going to be a little bit more challenging, but I just talked to my instructor. She's done, man, I have to thank her, because I've stressed her out a few times with all the changing of the schedules, and just, it's been kind of a juggle, but everyone's in the same boat. So it's like you're not alone. So I'm able to focus on my studies, and the coaches make sure that we're able to focus on our studies. And then my instructors are very understanding that I got a game to play too. So I get what I can hand in and give 100%. And they're very, I don't know, they like to help. If we help them out, they help us out. So kind of that relationship.
Yeah, it's great that you're able to have that support in that way, and able to have people to lean on, including your teammates. How nice is that, knowing that all you girls going through the same thing, doing courses while playing hockey, having that aspect of things to, connect in that way and lean on your teammates in that way.
Yeah, we're all in the same boat, so it's not like you feel left out at all. If we need help or we need time to study, they're very, very understanding, because they are in the same boat as us. So we're just in the same boat here.
Yeah, and you girls have had a lot of time to spend with each other on the bus, as you girls haven't played many home games at all this season, traveling to all of your games since near the start of the season. Talk about how nice it's been to bond with the girls even more on the bus trips, those experiences so far this year.
Yeah, well, when you spend 15 hours on a bus with a group of girls, you learn a lot about them. But just the roadies, they always are basically team builder. You learn about each other, you learn what you like and don't like, and we just build off of each other and become closer, and we become a family more. So
Yeah, and seems like that bonding and just the skill of the team and just the success you girls have had, it's gone hand in hand. 11-1 on the regular season. You girls are ranked 8th place in the ACHA Division II women's hockey standings. Just what's it been like for you? Coming from a team in Eastman, where you've had some success along the way, but also, not the most success coming into this team this season, first year with this program, and being able to be a part of this successful team this year.
Yeah, it was a big jump from midget to college hockey. You just put your heart and dedication in there, and the results will show. And it clearly is showing. We're very hardworking group of girls. So yeah, we're just excited to go to nationals and keep playing some hockey.
This team this season, 55 goals for in these 12 games you girls have played in the regular season, and only 12 goals against, obviously only averaging 1 goal against per game given up. What's that been like for you, being a part of this decor, being a part of a decor that's been very solid this season?
Yeah, we're very strong on the defensive zone. We just build off of each other. We always have something positive to say when girls come off the ice, and if we have questions, or if I did this wrong, or what should I do better, we're smart enough and we can play some D that we're always going to help each other out and make sure that no one gets past us and get the puck out of our zone, so that our goalies can take a break and give it to the forwards, and then they do their job. Our job is done, so it's their turn.
Who's the defenseman you've been playing with the most this season?
We've bounced around. I play with Maddie. She's number 8. And we've got a very good relationship going. I trust her on the blue line. If I make a mistake, I know she's going to be there. And if she makes a mistake, I'll be there for her. So we've got each other's back, and we're able to read off of each other. And she pumps me up, and man, I have to thank her for sometimes I get down on myself and she picks me right back up. And so, yeah, it's very fun playing with her.
Talk about what you bring to the table as a defenseman. We'll get into your stats in just a moment here, but I'll mention them briefly here for this moment. 5 points in 11 games played. But for yourself in the defensive side of things, what you bring to the table out there?
I'm very competitive. I grew up very competitive, and I still am very competitive. I had to learn where the line of when it is too much. I have too much competitiveness and what's not enough. So coming into here, Tony's been helping me out. He's great shift and all that giddy up. So I'm very fast. Also, I love bringing the puck up the ice. I'm very offensive defenseman. So it's not uncommon to see me up in the play and just being part of that rush. It's always fun. But I get back to my spot where on the blue line, and I may be small, but I'm a big bot on the blue line.
Yeah, that's great to know that you're able to have that confidence to bring that puck up while having that high compete level as well. Talk about just, what that adjustment has been like from playing in the MFHL to playing college hockey.
It's a different atmosphere. Everyone has a reason to be there and wants to be there, and they all give 110% effort. So it just shows how much more training and effort you have to put in, and it's definitely been a big jump. But I think with the help of Tony and the girls and all my other coaches, that I've gotten comfortable in this new type of hockey.
For yourself, you spoke about the confidence you have as a player. And in these last 4 out of the 3 games that you played, you have points in all those games, except for, one of those games where you didn't register a point in the last 4 games. You have 4 points in total in those 3 games where you did register points. How nice is it for your confidence at this point to have this type of success offensively in these last 3 out of 4 games?
Yeah, it just builds my confidence, and I'm not a big goal scorer, but I'll get the assists. Our team we have a good offense, so if they can do their job putting in the net, then I'll do my job of stopping the goals in our end. But just getting those points it shows that I can be at this level, and that I'm getting a little bit better, and yeah.
Yeah, you have 3 goals this season, 2 assists. Talk about, was there work you put into your shot, in the off season coming in, or is that something you've been working on throughout the season to get the shot at the point where it's at now, where you've scored, you've had a chance to score in 3 games in a row before this last game that you guys played?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked on my shot, getting the hard ones from the blue line, but 2 of my goals were from deep down. So it just shows when I can jump up, I could really be in that forward set of mind and get the puck to the net. And from the blue line, it just shows that my shot is getting better, and it encourages me to be better. So I keep practicing those blue line shots, those slap shots and wrist shots, so that hopefully it could get in or bounce out and my forwards can get it in the net.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Once again, showing that you have that confidence to take the puck deep into the zone and have that trust in your teammates as well for them to cover for you, which is great. Talk about the past weekend now for the team. You girls traveled to play the University of Wisconsin Eau Claire team twice. You girls won 8-1 and 5-0 last weekend. Just another boost of confidence for the team to know you guys are able to have this type of success at this part in the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. We've never played the team, so it was going to be a bit of an adjustment game and figure out what their style is and learn how they play, and then adjust our game so that if we meet them at nationals, we know how to play them. And it's just in those games when you're putting the puck in the net, you learn how to do other stuff other like plays and offensive breakouts and defensive breakouts, so that when it comes to nationals, we can really play those plays.
You girls have 3 games left on the schedule. Not until the 25th you girls don't play, so you'll have this weekend off, but you'll be playing against the Dakota College at Bottineau Lady Jacks team, and then against the North Dakota State University team twice on the 26th and 27th of this month. Obviously, some time for you girls to rest and get set for these games that will be played in 3 days in a row. But talking about that matchup against Dakota College at Bottineau, a team that you girls have played really early on in the season. They handed you your only loss of the regular season. You girls beat them in a close one. You girls lost in a close one to them. But what's going to be the mindset heading into that game?
I just think if we play our game, they'll have to chase us around. So we know how they play. We know how they break out, which forwards are the ones to look out. But if we just play our game and we play like we've been playing and play like we've been practicing, I think we'll do very well against them.
And then you girls, of course, as I mentioned, played North Dakota State University twice on the 26th and 27th, playing a team twice and back-to-back days, 3 games in a row in 3 days for you girls. What's going to be the mindset to, keep the team fresh, keep you girls, ready to go for all 3 games coming up next weekend?
Definitely be positive and listen to our bodies. We'll have a lot of our conditioning will have to be on point. So just encouraging each other and making those right plays and not doing too much work, but not doing enough. And so, yeah, we just got to keep positive and make sure that we can take those W's.
And must be excited for yet another bus trip down to the States.
Oh, yeah. It's not like we haven't had enough of those. But no, traveling with the girls, it's always fun. There's always laughing and smiling going on, which is, love that.
Well, another time for this team to travel coming up next weekend. Best of luck to you and the team coming up this next weekend. Number 12, first-year defenseman from Silver Falls, Manitoba, Laci Gaffray, joining Coffee with Graeme here tonight on Thursday. Laci, you take care, and best of luck to you and the girls for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, you take care, Laci. Laci Gaffray joining this edition of Coffee with Graeme, and that is right. The regular season for the Assiniboine Community College Cougars women's hockey team will be coming to an end coming up next weekend as they play on February 25th against Dakota College at Bottineau Lady Jacks, the Dakota College at Bottineau Lady Jacks team, and they finish off their regular season against the North Dakota State University team on back-to-back days. So should be exciting for them and those matchups coming up. And I'm excited for this next interview, talking to one of the newest additions to the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy U15 Prep Male Buffaloes team. It is Landon May, defenseman for that U15 squad, joining the show next to talk about what his experience has been like in Pilot-Mound, Manitoba so far. You're watching Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick around for more after this commercial break.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance. Quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you, with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5EVOLVE or support@evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Laci Gaffray, number 12, rookie defenseman for the Assiniboine Community College Cougars women's hockey team, joined the show here first off in tonight's interview, or in tonight's episode, and the first interview of tonight's show. Just want to update you viewers at home, if you're awaiting this week's edition of the Hawks Report, that will unfortunately not be happening tonight, as I was not able to get any Hawks players on due to them being busy this morning and in the afternoon, or being busy tonight, as I should say, as they are playing their first playoff game of the MFHL playoffs for this season against the Winnipeg Ice at the Bell MTS Icebucks. But it is time now to talk to a player from Pilot-Mound Hockey Academy in this week's edition of the Pilot-Mound Hockey Academy interviews that we do here on the shows. And joining me tonight is a player from their U15 prep male program, newly acquired defenseman. He's only played 6 games with them so far in total. It is Landon May. Landon, you're looking nice tonight, man. Nice to see you. It's great to have you on the show. How's life been in Pilot-Mound, Manitoba, man?
Oh, hey, Graeme. Your mic is like all deep voice right now, so I can't really understand what you're saying.
Okay. 1 sec. We'll get you back on here in just a moment. We are going to get Landon back here on the show in just a moment, folks. I am going to text him, but yeah, Pembina Valley starting their playoff journey, hoping to make it into the next round, of course, with their first game tonight against the Winnipeg Ice. I will update you guys on the MFHL and the playoff games that have happened so far coming up in tonight's edition of League Report here on the show. But we got Landon back here in the broadcast studio now. Gonna add him in now. Landon, is my voice coming through clear now?
Your mic is still pretty messed up. It's like in an alien voice right now. So
okay, that's not too good. Here, 1 sec. I will rejoin the stream and see if
all right.
Things. Alrighty, how about now, Landon? Is it fixed?
Your mic's still messed up.
Okay. Here, 1 sec. I'm gonna get you to rejoin the stream once again. 1 second here. Might tell him to try some headphones here. Maybe that will help. Could help. But yeah, league report tonight. I'm going to give you guys the what's been going on in the MFHL playoffs so far as they started their playoffs on Tuesday. There's been some games played there, of course, already. I'm also going to give you guys an update on what's been going on in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League, as well as how the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League playoff format will work, as well as giving an update on, the schedule of games coming up this weekend in the MMJHL, the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, as well as the Zone 4 High School Hockey League. But let's hope third time's a charm here, or fourth time's a charm, whatever charm we're on here. Let's see if Landon can finally hear me clearly. Landon, how is it sounding now, man?
Your mic is still pretty messed up to me. I don't know what's going on right now.
There's some technical difficulty that I'm not too sure what is going on. So, you know what? I am going to text you after because I'm not sure if you can hear me too clearly. We're going to get you on next week's edition of the show, and we'll try to sort it out then. I'm not sure if you could hear me all right. Yeah, there's been a lot of problems with Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy players coming on the show here as of late. Get you on. Yeah, for some reason, I'm not too sure what's going on. Was also going to have Liam Tatuni on tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme, but he is getting home a bit late tonight. So got to keep a schedule here. Got to be done within 2 hours here. I know. Got to manage the time better. So yeah, we are going to postpone the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy interviews, I guess, for this week. By the way, the Buffalo's U15 team will be in action twice here on the network this weekend coming up tomorrow night at 7 p.m. as well as at 1 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. Both matchups they'll play in will be against the Northern Alberta Xtreme U15 team, which is currently the first place in the U15 prep division. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to get my main man Seth Rach here on the show for tonight's edition of Seth's Inside Scoop to not only talk about those upcoming matchups, him giving his inside scoop for the upcoming matchups this weekend on the network here from the Manitoba side of things between the Buffaloes and Nax, as well as talking about the Female Hockey League in Saskatchewan, the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. Seth will give his inside scoop on the two teams that will be playing on the network in two games this weekend in that league, featuring the Swift Current Wildcats and the Saskatoon Stars. So that will be coming up next on Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions with an all-new edition of Seth's Inside Scoop here on the show on Coffee with Graeme on ASTV here on the network. Stick around, folks. Play the intro, folks. Now we're going to a commercial break. Stick around.
Welcome to Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot-Mound Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.
It's this week's edition of Seth's Inside Scoop here on Coffee with Graeme with none other than Seth Rach. Seth, there are a lot of games that we're supposed to be covering this weekend, but, depending on the weather, it might not happen, but fingers crossed that it does. 4 games are supposed to be played on this long weekend. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. between the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy Buffalo's U15 prep team, as well as they'll be taking on the Northern Alberta Xtreme U15 team. They'll be going at it again on Saturday at 1 p.m. and then Swift Current, the Wildcats, and the Saskatoon Stars will play at 7:45 on Saturday night and in the afternoon on Sunday at 1:15 p.m. So lots to talk about tonight, man, here on the show on your segment, but gotta ask you this traditional question: how you doing this Thursday?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Riding the high of doing a few play-by-play games myself, and looking forward to these games this weekend, if we even get to cover them, because the weather is supposed to be bad again. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah, for sure. Fingers crossed, no doubt about it. And I gotta say 2 things. You've been sounding great on play-by-play, man. Gotta hand it to you. You've been
Thank you.
nicely, because there's a lot of times when I can't make it out to Pilot-Mound. Of course, I live in Winnipeg. You live in Morden, so the trek is a bit easier. But yeah, I was hoping for more snow this year, but it's been a curse. It hasn't bolded too well for us here at ASTV Productions, but hopefully the weather isn't as bad as they're saying it is on the Weather Network and on news stations, because there's some good games that are going to be going on this weekend. And let's start off with the matchups from Manitoba CSSHL regular season action. The Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy Buffalo's U15 prep team going up against the Northern Alberta Xtreme team. The only time these teams have played this season was back earlier this month on February 6th, where NAX, the abbreviated name for Northern Alberta Xtreme, won 14-0. The Buffaloes enter this game on a 5-game losing streak, 15th place in the U15 prep division in the CSSHL with a 5-17 record, and their only win of 2022 so far came against Notre Dame back on January 23rd, where they won 4-0. But the Buffaloes lost big again yesterday, 10-1 against the RHA Winnipeg team. So 3 straight games getting blown out for the Buffaloes. What do you think the Buffaloes should be focusing on in these matchups this week against a very stacked NAX team, NAX team, this weekend for the Buffaloes to build their confidence?
Yeah, obviously, it will be pretty tough. They have struggled a little bit lately, and those past 2 games against RHA were, some of those games that you want to forget if you're on the Pilot-Mound side. And I think the whole thing for them is, maybe they're not necessarily going to win this game against NAX, but I think the key for them is just playing their best hockey and really trying to get on that horse, because there was times against RHA where they were getting opportunities in the offensive zone and they would get a few shots here and there, would establish some pressure. So they just got to look to get back to that sort of game plan and try to apply that against this very strong NAX team.
Yeah, it just comes down to that consistency, right? And it's tough to do that against these stacked teams, especially against a team like NAX, where they've only played once against them, like I mentioned, and they lost 14-0 back on February 6th. But, for the Buffaloes, the players that they'll be looking to lean on in these 2 games coming up this weekend.
Yeah, it's when I watch this team, or the past 2 games we covered, 2 notables that myself and even Corey Thiessen talked about were Adam Kelly and Bo Murray. Bo Murray being the captain, he had an excellent start, and he did have some injuries in the beginning of the season. One of those guys that they really rely on to put up offense and lead by example. And Adam Kelly, who has really surprised me over the past 2 games with the way he plays. He gets hard in the corners. He battles right to the very end. He's one of those guys, I compared him to Brendan Gallagher, where he just battles right from the first whistle to the last whistle as hard as he can. So, a very good young hockey player. And, there's a lot of other good players on this team. Liam Tutuni, had a few good looks defensively in the game. He's normally a forward, but he was playing on defense last game. So, there is some versatility and there's some strength in this lineup. It's about it all coming together and them all playing good as a cohesive unit.
Yeah, and another player that is leading the team in regular season points for them is defenseman Gage Sutherland. So another player they'll be looking to lean on, as well as a player like Carson Carrolls as well, I'd have to say. But one thing about this U15 team is they're not afraid to dish out the hits. They're not afraid to get physical. How huge do you think physicality will be a factor in the Buffalo's success if they are able to have success against Nax this weekend?
I think, when this U15 Buffalo's team finds success, I think that's the main thing. I think the physicality is what leads to their success. And, those two players I just noted, Bo Murray and Adam Kelly, they love to throw the body around and they love to throw the weight around. And, that's the special thing about this team. There may not be some of the tallest guys out there, but they're not afraid to get into those physical areas and those gritty areas of the ice. And, just showing that just shows all the fight that they have in themselves. And, they like, once again, it's going to be a tough battle, and they're going to, who knows if they're going to be able to really push this Nax team, but, they just got to play their way. And I think if they play physical the whole game, they got a chance to, at least out-muscle this Nax team.
How huge will the effort level play a part into it? Obviously, with the Buffaloes not having anywhere near the skill that Nax has on paper. I mean, 14-0 last time these two teams played. I mean, the effort level, you'd have to think, Seth, it's going to be a huge priority for the Buffaloes as well. Just, even though you might not be able to win any of these games this weekend, you'd like to come away with knowing you left it all out there on the ice.
Yeah, 100%. And that is, you worded it perfectly there, Graeme. You leave it all out in the ice there and you play your hardest. And, this is a tough division. There's a lot of really good skilled teams. And, I think if Pilot-Mound can win the physical battle in the game and, just play their best hockey, get hard on the forecheck and be able to generate some offense, I think they should keep their heads up high, because this, we and you both mentioned, this Nax team is pretty incredible when it comes to the skill that's on this team. And, I think, for Pilot-Mound, just got to get on your horse early and leave it all out there on the ice, like you said.
Yeah, the old saying, giddy up. It's time to giddy up for the Buffaloes coming up this weekend, tomorrow night and on Saturday. But let's end off with the Buffaloes talk for this weekend, and then we'll move into Nax after this. But the keys to the game for the Buffaloes, I mean, we've pretty much, you pretty much, I feel like, alluded to some of the keys to the game. But what will you say are the 3 keys to the game for the Buffaloes this weekend coming up in these 2 games against Nax?
Yeah. Number one, obviously you don't want to cross the line, but play a very physical style game and try to wear out the Nax as much as possible. That's got to be number one. And number 2 is really hoping for some of that magic we've seen with this U15, and that is the phenomenal goaltending we've seen over the past few games. In those two 10-1 losses we covered over the last 2 Wednesdays, you don't like to see 10 goals against, but the goaltending was really good, stopping. And I think in the first game there was over 50 shots on net. In the second game, there was like 46. So that this team has some strong goaltenders, some goaltenders that can hold them in there when things start to get dire. And number 3, I just think keep your head up high, no matter what the score is. This is a very skilled team, and as long as you play your game, you should keep your head up high.
Yeah, and taking a look at the goalies for the Buffaloes, taking a look at it here. It's been a while since there's so many goaltenders with the Buffaloes that we talk about. So sometimes I do tend to, forget, between the U17 team and the U15 team, Seth. But yeah, Keane Reed and Pete Moreau, whichever one of them plays, looking to, try to capture some of that magic and stand on their heads and face the amount of shots that they've been facing, something they'd definitely not like to see as much, but it could be a very good possibility against this Northern Alberta Xtreme team who has been sensational this season. I mean, you look at the record, Seth. First place in the U15 prep division, 22-1 on the season, 155 goals for, 44 goals against. They're the best in both of those categories, and they're on a 15-game win streak. Let's start off with that win streak. Not losing in 15 games, you got to be playing pretty good hockey as an overall complete team. Would you say that that's been their key to success, is just getting that overall, team performance in these 15 games?
Oh, yeah. This is... I hear you mention depth, and I'm just looking at the roster right now, and I know we're going to get to that. And I don't want to spoil anything yet, but this team has some serious skill and depth up front, and even on the back end as well. Like, this is going to be a hard game for Pilot-Mound, like we said, and going back into all that. But this next team might be the favorite to win it all. I could certainly see it happening.
Yeah, let's get into the offensive players for this team. The two players that stand out. 32 goal season from Cole Reshny this season, which is absolutely ridiculous. He's also got like 78 points. 27 goals for Hayden Harsani. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce his name. But they also got 4 other players on this team who have at least 12 goals. I mean, talking about Cole Reshny and Hayden Harsani, first off, I mean, 2 players that have been sensational for them this season in terms of putting up goals. Of course, this team has a lot of depth, but speak about those 2 players first off.
Yeah. Hey, these 2 guys are special talents, and Cole Reshny, like you said, it's hard to comprehend. 78 points in 21 games is you just need to look at that, and this guy is definitely one of the marquee players in Canada potentially because of how skilled he is. Like, this is a guy, you see he has over 30 goals in 21 games, which is impressive stat alone. And then he's not just a goal scorer. He packs that punch with the dishing out pucks as well. So he does have 46 assists, which is also pretty insane. So this guy can pass and shoot. He has the skill. He has the skill to make some fancy moves. He also has the legs to carry him. And, Hayden Harsani, like you said, this kid as well, 20, almost 30 goals in only 18 games is also pretty nuts. And yeah, it's hard to talk about one player without mentioning the others, as I'm looking here, and it seems like they have 7 players that are over a point per game on this team, which I just can't even believe to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely stacked. And just talking about Cole Reshny, like looking at it here, he has 78 points. And then the second most points from another player on this team is Hayden Harsani, who has 49. He's played 3 less games, but that is absolutely ridiculous. This team, besides those 2, a very deep team, something that they'll be looking to utilize as well going up against this Buffaloes team in these 2 games this weekend.
Oh yeah, 100%. And with the depth on this team, like we've been talking about, you can run any line pretty much, and they're, like we're looking here, they get success through any line that they run. So for if you're on this team, that you can rely on your teammates, especially if you're Cole Reshny. There's going to be you can expect that Pilot-Mound's going to be putting their best defensive lines out against this Cole Reshny. And he doesn't need to worry because he's not the only guy that's going to be putting up, or that's going to be a threat to put up points. So yeah, just the whole depth in general, like you mentioned, is just that it's definitely going to carry them as the season progresses and going into the playoffs as well.
Yeah, and for the Buffaloes, like you definitely ideally key in on Cole Reshny's line, but that could also leave doors open for the other lines to do some damage as well, because the team has weapons absolutely all across the lineup in terms of offense. Defensively, this team has been very good, but I want to focus more on the goaltending here, Seth. Talking about another amazing player here, Ryan Groot, who has the best save percentage in the div with a .947 save percentage, 3 shutouts, which is tied for the most, and he has a perfect undefeated 13-0 record. Jordan Switzer has also got a stellar record. The numbers aren't as nice as Groot's with a 9-1 record, .903 save percentage, and 1 shutout. But yeah, these goaltenders, man, I mean, absolutely phenomenal, especially Ryan Groot this season.
Oh yeah, I mean 13-0-0 with a .947 save percentage, and even with the goals against average, we talk about it not being as much as a factor in these leagues that we cover, but when you have a 138 goals against average, you're definitely doing something right. And Jordan Switzer, like you mentioned, he's had a phenomenal season as well with a 253 goals against average and a .903 save percentage. So We talk about the offense, we talk about the defense, and then we look at the goaltending here too. And it's just as good. You could say it's just as good as how good their offense is too. They can rely on anyone on this team to lead, and that's probably what they're going to be doing this weekend.
Well, speaking of their weekend in these two games tomorrow night and on Saturday, what would you say are going to be the keys to the game for this Northern Alberta Xtreme team looking to keep up their phenomenal season they've been having so far, looking to keep that 15-game win streak going and extended to 17?
Well, I think the number one thing, if you're going to go in and you want to have success in the weekend, just throw Ryan Grote in net. Then it shows here. If he goes in net, he's probably going to win both games because he hasn't got a loss yet this season. So, all jokes aside, just it's hard to think, almost hard to think of some keys to the game, and I think one of them would definitely be not taking Pilot-Mound too lightly because in the past, in all facets, in every single sport, when one team takes another team lightly, it often doesn't end well for the team that takes them lightly. So that could be the number one. And, I'm just going to say, make sure all lines are rolling, make sure all depth players are ready to go in this game, and try to match Pilot-Mound in the physicality, I would say, is the third one as well.
Yeah. And, this NAX team, this next team, Northern Alberta Xtreme, last time the only time they played the Buffaloes, they won 14-0, right? So a team that knows they can pound this Buffaloes team, and also a team that has not lost in 15 games, but would be interesting to see if they don't take them seriously what could happen out there. But I'm sure that this coaching staff for this Northern Alberta Xtreme team will have the boys ready to go. So we are going to go to a commercial break here, Seth, and then coming up on your segment, Seth's Inside Scoop. Next is going to be us talking, you giving the inside scoop on the Swift Current Wildcats and Saskatoon Stars matchups, which will be on the network as well this weekend, of course, because we're going to talk about it. So you're listening to Seth's Inside Scoop here on Coffee with Graeme. Stick around for some Saskatchewan female U18 AAA Hockey League talk here after this commercial break. Welcome back to Seth's Inside Scoop here on Coffee with Graeme. Me and Seth, Seth gave his inside scoop on the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy Buffaloes U15 prep games, as they will be going up against the Northern Alberta Xtreme U15 prep male team tomorrow night and on Saturday. But we are moving away from the CSSHL hockey talk now, and now moving into the Saskatchewan female U18 AAA Hockey League games that will be played here on the network between the Swift Current Wildcats and Saskatoon Stars. The first game for these two teams of their weekend will be at 7:45 p.m. on Saturday night, and then their second and final game of the weekend against each other will be at 1:15 p.m. So for the Wildcats, these will be their last two games of their regular season before they get set to get ready for a potential run in the playoffs. And for this team, strong three last games. I mean, they beat Weyburn twice, who is the last place team in the league, but they beat the Notre Dame Hounds last night 3-2 in double overtime. They're 2-1 against the Saskatoon Stars this season. They're the team they've played the least on their schedule, and they have 8 goals for, 5 goals against in those 3 games combined. These two teams haven't played each other since December 4th, but let's get into this. I mean, Swift Current riding high into this game after winning against one of the best teams in the league, a team in front of them, Notre Dame, last night.
Yeah, obviously, that's a big win right there to be able to beat one of the better teams in the league and to really just get that confidence. And we know that this Swift Current Wildcats team is very good. They're having a pretty successful season as well. But always when you get that win against the team higher than you in the standings, it's always got to feel good and up that confidence. But this is a team that has a really good chance at really good chance at making it far in the playoffs this year, I'd say. And these two teams are like neck and neck in the standings. So it should be a very interesting matchup we got this weekend. And you can expect both these teams to bring out their best in each other come this weekend.
Yeah, and Swift, it's a team they're playing that they've had success against this season.
Yeah.
Of course, they beat them twice and they've only lost once. And that one loss they had actually came in the last matchup in December 4th, where Saskatoon beat Swift Current 3-2. The Wildcats outshot Saskatoon in that game 32-20 and went 2 for 7 on the power play. So a lot of power play opportunities for them in that game, and they scored both of their goals against Saskatoon in that game. But Carly Leonard got pulled in that game for Swift Current as well. Obviously, that's a long time ago, but obviously this Wildcats team looking like they'll be hungry coming in, of course, like any team is when they got a 3-game win streak, to extend this win streak that they have this weekend against the Saskatoon Stars.
Yeah, 100. That is 100% correct. And yeah, like you said, they're on that 3-game winning streak, and it's pretty confident already. But to get another win, and if they can get both of these wins on the weekend, it'll be even better for the team. And as we know, the playoffs are coming closer. And if you can keep your record, you can go really hot into the playoffs. Oftentimes, it's even hard to get stopped in the playoffs. So this team definitely looking to get ready for that playoffs, and what better way to beat this team twice coming up on the weekend. But yeah, this team, we talked about it lots. Their depth is pretty solid, and they can rely on pretty much any player to really help carry them in these games.
Yeah, and Swift, their coaching staff always talks about this in their interviews that they have here in game on the network between periods and the intermissions, or even in the pregame, that they look to rely on their depth as well as their speed and their size in their games that they play. Do you think that that's going to be the key for them in one of the keys for them in these matchups? Obviously, spoiling it a bit, but looking to rely on those three things.
Oh, yeah. Speed and the size, like you had said. Yeah, those are two big things that this Swift Current team do very good at. And we see the skill on this team, the amount of skill that they have. It's pretty impressive. So, yeah, it's all about getting on that horse early. And I think if they can, like you said, and like how the coach said, their speed and their size will come into an advantage if they play their cards right. But it's all about doing that. And, these two teams, one neck and neck in the standings, although the Wildcats have have the season series so far in hand. But this is going to be a good matchup. I'm really excited to see the outcome of this, because the playoffs are getting so much closer. And if you know me, I love playoff hockey.
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't love playoff hockey, right? But for Swift Current, they are looking to solidify that third place spot for their regular season, finish off with that, looking for 2 wins, of course, like any team would in a back-to-back season weekend series, I guess you could call it that. But all the games that these two teams have played this season have been on the road for the Swift Current Wildcats. Must be nice for them, gotta think, for them to have these 2 last matchups against Saskatoon at home this weekend.
Yeah, and they already found their success against this team away on the road. So, coming back into your own building where you're more familiar and you're more comfortable in your own home, it's definitely going to be a big upside for this team. And I think they could even use home ice advantage to their own advantage to, get the crowd pumped and ready to go. And maybe that'll fuel their energy, and they'll be really excited to be playing in front of their home crowd against this team. And, it might propel them above. So, yeah, if they already have found success on the road, you can bet you can. Don't want to put any swears in here. It almost happened, but you bet your rear end that they're going to be thriving off that home ice.
I think I know the word you were going to use there, Seth. Get on you for holding back, because sometimes it is hard not.
It happens.
Sometimes it happens sometimes, right? But good on you for holding yourself back. In the success that the Wildcats have had against Saskatoon this year, in those 2 wins, they've only held them to 1 goal. Just talking about the defense from Saskatoon this season, I mean, you look at it, only looking at, let's see, it's not showing me the goals against here. Yes, okay, here we go. Only 52 goals against for them this season. I mean, looking at it, one of the better defensive teams in the league. In fact, top 3 at that in terms of goals against, goals allowed. Obviously defense will be huge for the Wildcats coming up this weekend.
Oh yeah, 100%. And we've talked about this defense in the past. These are some girls on this team that, they play great in both ends, like we've mentioned in the past. And I think that's been a big reason to their success. A lot of times teams often have a more skill-based defense group, and it's not as reliable in the defensive zone. But this Swift Current team definitely has a very solid defense. And you mentioned it. It's played a huge role in their success and being one of the better defensive teams in the league. So you can definitely expect their number one assignment is going to be shutting Saskatoon down in this game coming up these games coming up on the weekend.
Jersey Watain has led the team in goals this season, or is leading the team in goals this season with 19. She scored 2 last night against the Notre Dame Hounds, and the Wildcats win. Obviously, this team has a lot of depth, but Jersey Watain has highlighted this offense for this team this season. What should be expected out of her? She's looking to finish her season strong in these last 2 games.
Yeah, if this is definitely a time for the key players to really want to show off their skill sets, and what better way to do that? Well, your team's about ready to enter the playoffs and get ready to go battle your hearts out in every single game. We know how hard teams fight in the playoffs, but yeah, she has been excellent this year. Like you said, those 19 goals has they speak for themselves. She's a goal scorer, and every time she's out on the ice, she's a lethal player. And if you're Saskatoon, you're going to want to get your players, your defenders, your defensive players covering her at all times, because if she's left open, odds are she's going to get a good chance to score. So the main thing for Saskatoon is to get their defense, because Jersey's one of those players where you can't leave open. You can't leave any room for her to move, because if she has that room, she's oftentimes going to put the puck in the net, or she's going to, feed the puck to someone else, and then they might score too. So excellent player here.
Let's move into the keys to the game now. In both of these games for the Swift Current Wildcats going up against the Saskatoon Stars at the Fairview Arena in Swift Current, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, for Swift Current, I think the number one thing is we had talked about before is keeping that, those great defensive stats that we talked about so far is just keeping them rolling, I guess you could say. Keep that good defensive style hockey that you've been playing over the past little while, and you really keep it going into these next 2 games, because defense is everything come playoff time, and what better way to really perfect it than finishing off a strong regular season. And then I think just keeping up the specialty teams as well. Get that power play going. We saw how many penalties that Saskatoon team took the last time these 2 teams faced. And they scored 2 power play goals. So really try to go with the other team to taking a lot of penalties, I think, is the next thing for Swift Current in the keys to the game.
Moving into the Saskatoon Stars now. Saskatoon, they're on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of the winning streak or losing streak, and they're on the losing side of things in these last 3 games. A 3-game losing streak for them, but they do have a game before these 2 matchups that they have against Swift Current this weekend, as they will be playing against the Battleford Sharks tonight. I'm going to ask you about that, obviously unrelated to this game, but a big game for Saskatoon, a team they're playing that is below them in the standings, looking to build some confidence with a win, trying to get back in the win column in that game tonight.
Oh yeah, that would be absolutely massive, and especially heading into a game against a very good Swift Current team, and they, like you said, they're on that losing streak. So to get a win, to up that confidence just a little bit by getting a win tonight would be big. And then, let your role players and let your team, and then you got that confidence. And then once you get into the weekend, use that confidence to try to motivate you for these really big games, you could say, coming up.
Of course, this will be the Stars' first 2 games and last 2 games on the road against the Wildcats in their season series. This matchup, this weekend coming up in these matchups. What do you think the game plan will be for them, going into the Wildcats' home arena instead of playing at their home arena in these 2 games?
Yeah, the thing is, like they were struggling against this team to get wins on their home ice. So the main thing is just trying to tune out that crowd noise. Yeah, I know with COVID, there's some complications with crowd and whatnot. But if they're, come playoff time, more fans are going to show up. So trying to tune out that noise and try to make it your own home. I know you're far away. It's the first time you're stepping into this building this year, so it's definitely going to be tough to keep your head in the game in a new arena where you're not really used to. But the main thing is just trying to stick to the game plan and stick to the coach's notes and, play a good, hard game.
Of course, as mentioned already, the last 2 times these teams have played was back on December 4th. And for Saskatoon, even though they were able to beat Swift Current outshot them by 12, 32-20. And they scored 2 goals on the penalty kill of Saskatoon. And Saskatoon took a lot of penalties in that game while also going 0 for 3 on the power play. Obviously, for Saskatoon, looking to get that advantage in the shot category this time around and looking not to take as many penalties and looking to capitalize on the chances that they got if they do arise, I got to assume.
Yeah, discipline's the main thing. 7 penalties in a game is, it's almost like you're bound. The other team is bound to score at least 1 when you get 7 penalties in a game. So the main thing, I don't really want to. It's hard to say what I want to say here without giving away any of my keys to the game here. But staying out of the box is definitely a big thing, and because we know how we talked about the skill on that Swift Current team. So the main thing is just staying out of the box and then. Try to roll your team and get your team going when you're outside the box. And, if you can get a penalty kill off, get a big penalty kill, that's only going to motivate the team further.
Of course, the Stars, besides that game against Swift Current where they won 3-2, have struggled to put up the numbers offensively. Of course, just taking a look at it, I mean, this is a team that doesn't put up the most goals in the league, right? They got 66 goals for on the season, which ranks 4th most in the league. But obviously for them, this is a team with a lot of rookies, a team that have benefited from their rookie scoring this season. But what do you think it's going to take for the Saskatoon team against a very good defensive Swift Current team to find some more offense like they did in their 3-2 matchup, even though they had way less shots than Swift Current in that one?
Yeah, I'd say fire on all cylinders as much as possible. Every time you get an opportunity, you want to get a shot on net. Obviously, these 2 goaltenders in Swift Current, we've talked about them lots before. They're both excellent. So, just taking as many shots as you can, making the right plays, and trying to play as smart as possible in order to generate those shots.
Who do you think the players are going to be for Saskatoon, who they're going to be leaning on this weekend?
Yeah, I'm looking at their 2 top point getters right now in Kira Buziak and Avery Ballarose. These are 2 players that are pretty solid. Have been pretty solid for them so far this year. They're both over a point per game, and 16 goals in 24 games speaks for itself. You got a goal scorer right there, and then the dish master, as I like to always say, in their number 1 point getter in Kira. So these are the 2 girls I'm definitely going to be looking at to lead this team to try to get a victory over Swift Current, because when you struggle to score goals against a really defensive team, you rely on those top guns to try to break your team through. So that's what I'm picking for this game.
This team has only 64 goals against this season. They only got a goals for to goals against differential of +2, but this team has allowed the 4th least goals in the league this year. Talk about this team defensively. Obviously going up against a high-powered Swift Current offensive team who has a lot of depth, a lot of players that could hurt you as a team. What you think the game plan for them will be defensively coming up?
Well, yeah, they got pretty good defensive numbers themselves. As you said, they're 4th in the league in that category. So, this is a team who's not too bad defensively themselves, and I think just trying to stay strong back there is the main thing. And we know this team, obviously, yeah, you know, they got fourth best, and the main thing is just trying to box out some of those other players like Jersey Watanabe, like we talked about before when we were talking about Swift Current. You know, I said she's one of the more lethal players on the ice. Whenever she gets the puck, and she has a good amount of room to make a play, she often is very successful on that. So just making sure you have her covered down, and then the rest of your assignments are at peak performance as well, because we talked about the depth. So just trying to cancel out that depth and that top goal scoring is going to be I almost said key to the game, and I know we're not there yet, but it honestly will be the key to the game.
Yeah, and obviously looking to get good goaltending as well. And Kayla Chrisman was really, really good in that last game that they played. In her only matchup, I'm looking at it here, that she's played against Swift Current this season, she was able to get the win, making 30 saves on 32 shots against. Obviously, they got a goaltender in Tora Ward as well. I just want to look back and see if I pronounced her first name right. Yes, Tora Ward, who, you know, doesn't have as good as a record as Michaela Christman, but has a slightly better save percentage. So, you know, going to be interesting to see which goaltender they roll with in these two games, if they roll with the same one in both games or if they split them. But the goaltending from Saskatoon, what should, you know, be the expectation in your opinion, what you're expecting from these two goaltenders?
Yeah, you know, they both played pretty well, and you know, the Tora Ward, you know, she is 4-7 on the year, like you had said, and you know, you might not like that if you're Tora Ward, but you do have a pretty good save percentage, so you are making those key saves, and it all depends on the matchup. You know, I'm assuming that the coach will probably go roll one day and roll the other the next day. Personally, that's what I would do, but I'm not the coach of the team, so I don't make those decisions. But yeah, personally, I would go with one the first night and then the other one the next day.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, but it will be interesting to see if Saskatoon can get that first win in their first game out of the two on the weekend, and say Michaela Chrisman plays in net and she has a phenomenal game. It could be, wouldn't be surprising to me if she would get the start in net again, just riding with the hot hand, right? But usually in a back-to-back, you see coaches roll with another goaltender the next one. But let's move into the final question here, Seth, for you, that I'm going to ask, of course, because I'm the only one here asking. Would be kind of scared if someone else was asking questions here, because that would mean there'd be an intruder. And let's jokes aside, but keys to the game for you know, the Saskatoon Stars in these two games this weekend coming against the Swift Current Wildcats.
Yeah, I'd say number one is try to stay out of the box as much as possible. You know, you don't want to be taking 7 penalties a game against Swift Current. So yeah, discipline number one. And then number two, I'd go with stay assignment sound, because we talked about it before as well. You know, you want to keep that top goal scorer from really trying to be a detriment and you guys getting a win. So yeah, make sure she stays off the board. Yeah, by staying assignment sound, and and then getting a good goaltending performance from whoever's in net, I think, is number three. I do believe these teams are very evenly matched, and it should be a bloodbath come this weekend, and I'll be very interested to see the outcome of these two games.
Well, the regular season in the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League ramping up to an end here shortly in this month of February. So for Swift, they got 2 games left on their schedule, which will be this weekend against the Saskatoon Stars. And after Saskatoon plays against the Battleford Sharks, I believe they will have 4 games left on their schedule. So it should be interesting come Saturday and Sunday here in the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League against these two teams, for these both teams. But Seth Rach joining the show here on his segment, Seth's Inside Scoop, for another Thursday night edition of Coffee with Graeme. Seth, you know, hoping to see you on the weekend, but if I don't, we will see each other again next Thursday for another edition of your segment. Seth Rach joining this edition of Coffee with Graeme here on Seth's Inside Scoop. And yeah, 4 games to be played on the network this weekend coming up. Be sure to check out Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy's website for those U15 matchups that they'll be playing. Well, I could tell you when they're going to be played, and you guys just heard them from Seth and me. Yeah, just Pilot-Mound, the Buffaloes U15 team, taking on the NAX, which is Northern Alberta Xtreme. That's what that stands for, the U15 prep team. They'll be going up against each other tomorrow night at 7 p.m. as well as on Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. And then just taking a look at when the Swift Current Wildcats will be playing against the Saskatoon Stars. 7:45 p.m. will be the first matchup between these two teams for these two games that they're going to be playing this weekend. That's coming up on Saturday night, and then finishing off the two-game series they're playing this weekend. The two set of the pair of games that they're playing, they'll go at 1:15 p.m. Swift Current and Saskatoon will on Sunday. So yeah, I've been stumbling a lot during tonight's episode. It actually started off from the very beginning and made its way into the start of that interview I had with Laci Gaffray. Had some technical difficulties with getting Landon May on of the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy U15 team, and could not get Liam Tatuni on the show, but felt like the Seth's Inside Scoop segment went very well. Always nice to have Seth on the show here. So enough of me rambling. After the commercial break here coming up, I'm going to be going into tonight's edition of League Report, where I'll be taking a look at the MFHL, the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, the MMJHL, the Zone 4 High School Hockey League, the Winnipeg High School Hockey League, and the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League. So that's coming up here next on Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick around for more after the commercial break. Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions, everybody. In tonight's episode, I've had a chance to speak with only two people. Had a chance to speak with Laci Gaffray of the Assiniboine Community College Cougars women's hockey team, as well as talking to Seth Rach. Unable to bring you folks a edition of this episode where I have Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy players on it. Had some technical difficulties with Landon May. He couldn't hear me very well, and Liam Tatuni unable to join tonight's show just because the time did not work out so well. But those two players, I'm hoping to have them on next week's edition of Coffee with Graeme and bring you guys some good Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy content, as we always try to do here on Coffee with Graeme. But welcome back to the show, everybody. It is time now for this tonight's edition of a League Report. And, there is 3 leagues here that I will be talking about that 2 have already started their playoffs, and another one that is set to start their playoffs, and it actually has started tonight. But we will go into the first league to talk about here tonight, the playoff matchups that have happened so far, the games that have happened so far, starting off with the MFHL. So, taking a look here, just got to share the screen, and we'll get right to it. So, taking a look at what has happened so far in the MFHL playoffs, as you can see it right here. It was going with the 1 versus 8 series, which is the number 1 team in the MFHL, the Winnipeg Avros, playing against the Interlake Lightning, who was the last place team in the league. The first game was a close one, and close, in the score, as you can see, an OT win for the number 1 seed Winnipeg Avros, as they started off their playoffs with a win in the win column. The Yellowhead Chiefs, the number 2 seed in the MFHL this season, taking on the number 7 seed, of course, the Eastman Selects, a 7-0 commanding lead for them to open up their playoffs this season. The Westman Wildcats taking care of business in their first playoff game, the number 3 seed playing against the number 6 seeded Central Plains Capitals. Westman winning in that one yesterday, 5-0. Of course, the Avros and the Chiefs beat the teams they played against. The Avros beat the Lightning on Tuesday, and the Chiefs beat the Selects on Tuesday as well. Talking about tonight's action in the MFHL, looking at it, the Winnipeg Ice commanding 6-1 win over the Pembina Valley Hawks to start off their playoffs. Taking a look at the other games that are in action tonight, the teams that are in action. So you can see it here, the Yellowhead Chiefs and Eastman Selects going up against each other for game 2 tonight at the Niverville Recreation Center. That game currently in progress. Of course, the Yellowhead Chiefs looking to go up 2-0 in that series, and then the Winnipeg Avros traveling to VMSC Stonewall in game 2 of their series against the Lightning, trying to put a stranglehold on the Lightning as that game started at 7:45 p.m. I will try to see if I can get updates here of what is going on in those games, but we will have to stay tuned for that. Looking at the other action that will be happening in the MFHL coming up for the playoffs in this weekend, it will be the Westman Wildcats going to the BDO Center for the Community to play the Central Plains Capitals at 8 p.m. tomorrow night in the only game of playoff action in the MFHL. The Westman Wildcats, of course, looking to continue their success they had against Central Plains in their first game, trying to put them in a 2-0 hole in that series. So taking a look at Saturday's action, what is on tap, it will be 3 games being played. It will be the Pembina Valley Hawks taking on the Winnipeg Ice. That will be the second game of their series. Winnipeg, of course, looking to go up 2-0. And then the Yellowhead Chiefs and Eastman Selects playing in Shoal Lake at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. Yellowhead could potentially have a chance to win their series in 3 games that night, depending on what happens in tonight's matchup that they have. Now, going into Sunday's action, the Interlake Lightning playing against the Winnipeg Avros, depending on what happens tonight. Winnipeg, the Avros at 1:45 p.m. on Saturday could have a chance to sweep the Interlake Lightning, but not sure what's happening in tonight's game as of yet, as the results have not been posted. The Westman Wildcats and Central Plains Capitals will be playing in their 3rd game on Sunday. The Winnipeg Avros and Interlake Lightning playing on Sunday, of course, as well, as you can see there. But the Westman Wildcats will be back at home at Hartney in Sunday's action in their game 3 of their series against the Central Plains Capitals at 3 p.m. as they could potentially also be sending Central Plains home on that date. But looking at the other matchup that will be happening, the second game of the weekend for these two teams, the Pembina Valley Hawks and Winnipeg Ice, at the Bell MTS Icebox at 4:15 p.m. The Ice, depending on what happens, could also have a chance to sweep their series on that day. Now, looking into Monday's action as well, what could be potentially happening. So the Winnipeg Avros say the Interlake Lightning are able to win one of the next 2 games coming up. This would mean there would be a game 4, and that would happen in Stonewall at VMSC Stonewall on a Monday night at 7:45 p.m. And of course, it is a long weekend, so there is going to be an afternoon game potentially in the MFHL on this day, on Monday coming up by the Yellowhead Chiefs. Depending on if Eastman can win one of the next 2 games that they're playing in against Yellowhead, this could mean that there could be a game 4. So that game, if it does happen, would go at 2:45 p.m. at the Niverville Recreation Center. Moving into some other female hockey stuff to report on here. Talking about the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. Now, Taking a look at it, looking at Wednesday's game, the only game that was played on Wednesday in the league, which was yesterday, and it can also be seen on ASTV Productions. In double overtime, the Swift Current Wildcats at home beating the Notre Dame Hounds 3-2. Tonight, the Battleford Sharks on the road against the Saskatoon Stars at 7 p.m. The score has not been reported yet. And the Weyburn Goldwings are also playing tonight against the Regina Rebels at the Cooperators Center, which is Regina's home rink. So taking a look at what is on tap for the rest of the weekend in the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. Tomorrow night, there will only be one game, and that will be the Battleford Sharks playing against the Weyburn Goldwings at the Milestone Arena at 7:30 p.m. Talking about Saturday's action, the Notre Dame Hounds on the road to play Prince Albert at the Art Hauser Center at 1:30 p.m. and then at 7:45 p.m. a game that can be seen on ASTV Productions. The Saskatoon Stars traveling to the Fairview Arena to play the Swift Current Wildcats. Taking a look at Sunday's action at 1:15 p.m. a game that can be seen on ASTV Productions. The Swift Current Wildcats in their second game of the weekend against the Saskatoon Stars, as this will be Swift Current's last game of their regular season at the Fairview Arena and last regular season in general for that team, 1:15 p.m. And of course, at 1:30 p.m., 15 minutes after the puck drops in that game at the Fairview Arena, the Prince Albert Northern Bears will be at home at the Art Hauser Center to play against the Notre Dame Hounds. Going into the MMJHL now, and we will actually go to the home page because that is where the score is being shown right now in this game that is in progress in this league for the MMJHL. It is the River East Royal Knights up 2-1 over the St. Vital Junior Victorias after 2 periods of play, or in the second period. I'm not sure if they finished the second period or not already, but after St. Vital, they were up 1-0 after the first. River East able to answer with 2 goals of their own to take the lead, and I'm pretty sure that they got a power play goal as well. I've never seen a power play stat like this, 1-0 on the power play tonight. So I guess they, were able to score a power play goal in this game as well. But taking a look at the schedule, the games that have happened since the last time that I reported on this league in Tuesday morning's episode. Let's see here. Okay, so on February 15th, it was the St. Vital Junior Victorias going into Century Arena and beating the Fort Garry Twins 7-2. Also, on Tuesday night, it was the Pembina Valley Twisters going into River East Royal Knights. The River East Royal Knights home rink at Terry Sawchuk, beating them 6-3. And at Eric Coy Arena, the Charleswood Hawks winning commandingly 6-1 over the St. Boniface Riels. There was only one game in the league yesterday, and it was the St. James Junior Canucks at home winning 10-4 over the Raiders Junior Hockey Club. Of course, the game tonight in progress between the River East Royal Knights and St. Vital Junior Victorias at St. Vital Arena. St. Vital currently down 2-1, but looking into tomorrow night's action, it's the St. James Junior Canucks going into Stonewall. I'm going to move back over to the home screen here. So in the MMJHL to show you guys where these games will be played. So yes, I'll zoom in a bit more too. Zooming in here, and now we can get started. The St. James Junior Canucks tomorrow night will be going to the Stonewall Veterans Memorial Arena to play against the Stonewall Jets. 7:30 p.m. will be puck drop in that game. Going into another game that is being played tomorrow at 8 p.m., as well as there's 2 games that will be played at 8 p.m. tomorrow in the triple header in the MMJHL. It's the Fort Garry Twins going to the East End Arena to play against the Transcone Railer Express. The Raiders Junior Hockey Club traveling to the Morris Multiplex to play against the Pembina Valley Twisters at 8 p.m. tomorrow night as well. Taking a look at Saturday's action, there will only be one game that will be played, and it's the St. Vital Junior Victorias going to Southdale Arena to play against their I guess you can call it their rivals, but a team that's close to them in terms of the area where these teams are situated in, playing against the St. Boniface Riels. The Riels, of course, looking to snap an 8-game losing streak in this game on Saturday, depending what happens tonight for the St. Vital Junior Victorias. They could be looking to get back in the win column or looking to extend their win streak to 6. Looking into Sunday's action now, it's the Raiders Junior Hockey Club going to East End Arena to play against the Transcona Railer Express at 2 p.m. Of course, that game between the Victorias and Riels will go at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. But 2 p.m., the Raiders Junior Hockey Club and Transcona Railer Express will play each other on Sunday. The Pembina Valley Twisters will be going into the Stonewall Veterans Memorial Arena to play against the Stonewall Jets at 3 p.m. on Sunday. At 4:30 p.m. on Sunday as well, the St. Boniface Riels will be at home to play against the River East Royal Knights, and at Century Arena at 7:30 p.m. to conclude this weekend's action in the MMJHL, the Charleswood Hawks will go to play the Fort Garry Twins at Century Arena. Moving into the Zone 4 High School Hockey League now, and this is a league that is starting up their playoffs tonight, but this was how the remaining games of the regular season this week panned out. So I already reported on Monday's scores, and you guys can see it here, as you can see all the scores, obviously, but the PCI Trojans won in a close one on Tuesday night at 7 p.m. as they played against the Pembina Tigers, winning 3-2. And then a couple of blowout games yesterday as the PCI Trojans were at home taking on the Morden Thunder. As you can see there, they won 9-0. And wow, the Carmen Cougars, man, not a fun game for the Morris Mavericks. 18-3 was the win for Carmen in that one to end off their regular season. Now, moving into the upcoming schedule for the playoffs, there are 3 games tonight. It is the GVSD hockey team taking on the PCI Trojans, the Mountain Mustangs taking on the Pembina Tigers, and the WC Miller Aces taking on the Morden Thunder. Of course, the home teams finished higher up in the standings in this league as they are playing in their playoffs. And looking into Friday's action tomorrow, what is going to be coming? It is going to be the GVSD hockey team at home to take on the PCI Trojans, the Carmen Cougars taking on the Morris Mavericks, as Carmen will be at home in their first playoff matchup of their season. Taking a look into Saturday's action, only one game will be played. It's the PCI Trojans going up against the GVSD hockey team at home. I believe it is a best, it might be a best 2 out of 3 or a best 3 out of 5. I'm not too sure, but that game might not happen if it is a best 2 out of 3 and say PCI, they win in 2 games, but we'll have to wait and see for that. And looking into Sunday's action, it's going to be the WC Miller Aces taking on the Morden Thunder. WC will be on the road for that one. It will be the second game these teams play in their series. And the Pembina Tigers, in the second game, they will be playing against the Mountain Mustangs. Pembina will be at home in game 2 of that series. And looking at the second game of the Carmen Cougars and Morris Mavericks series, well, the Carmen Cougars will be on the road for that one going into Morris in their second game of the playoffs. Taking a look at the standings and how these playoff matchups came to be, the PCI Trojans got the first place seeding with a 19-3-1 record, and they are matched up against the GVSD hockey team, which is the last seed in the league. I guess NPC, the Nighthawks. I'm not sure what happened with them, honestly, because they've only played 12 games and it's been sitting at that for a while. But the Carmen Cougars got the second seed with a 19-3 record as well. That is why they are taking on the Morris Mavericks, who got the 7th seed. The WC Miller Aces with a 14-8 record, getting the 3rd seed in the Zone 4 High School Hockey League, and they are taking on the Morden Thunder. And then the 4 and 5 matchup, the Mountain Mustangs, defending champions, coming in with a 12-10-1 record, finishing in 4th place, taking on the Pembina Tigers, who have an identical record to them with a 12-10-1 record on the season. So that is why these teams are playing against each other in the playoffs in that league. Now, moving into some playoff hockey in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League. Now, we will take a look here, but I will have to remove the overlay for this one because it is blocking the screen. But yes, taking a look at it, the playoffs in this league started off on Friday last week as the River East team ended up beating Miles Mac 4-3. Moving into the other playoff games that were played in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League. Let's see here. So looking at the other games that were played in this league, in the playoffs, on Monday it was Windsor Park beating JH Bruns 4-3. The College Belleville Barracudas beat the Dakota Lancers 4-2 at home. The College John Sauvé Olympians ended up beating Lorette 4-3, and the College Gabriel Raw team ended up beating Shaftesbury 3-1. Taking a look at some other playoff action here that ended up happening on Monday, as all these games so far that I've talked about besides the Friday game have happened on Monday so far, or happened on Monday. The Westwood team winning 5-3 over Oak Park, and then looking at game 2 of the River East series, River East. Am I confused here? Sorry, it's been a while since I've really taken a look at the Winnipeg High School Hockey League for myself, but no, what is going on? I guess that wasn't a playoff game that happened on Friday then. My apologies for that. But yeah, the St. Paul's Crusaders 1 team ended up winning against River East 4-0 on Monday. Moving into Tuesday's action, Sturgeon Heights won 1-0 over Lord Selkirk. St. Paul's 2 ended up losing 3-2 to Sanford. Looking at Garden City, they ended up losing to Vincent Massey 5-2. Let's see. And then taking a look at the other game that was played on Tuesday, it was the Harview Sag King team taking on the Glen Lawn Collegiate Lions. But you know what, folks? I'm looking at it here. I'm not giving the best report here for this league. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my homework. I'm not just going to read off the scores. I'm actually going to tell you guys the standings in the league and how these teams finished. And we are going to have that for you guys on Tuesday's edition of Coffee with Graeme coming up next week. But I will tell you how the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League will determine their playoff winners and how the format will be played in the Winnipeg High School Hockey Leagues, or Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League. So the games will start on February 22nd, so coming up next week to the 25th. Those will be the qualifying rounds if necessary. So meaning if necessary, that could mean I think that the playoffs for the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League could be starting on February 28th to March 4th. That's when the quarterfinal series will be played. Then going over to March 7th to March 11th, that's when the semifinals will be played. And then the finals for all 3 divisions will be scheduled to play on March 14th to March 18th. Now, the final series, as you can see here, will be played at the Bell MTS Iceplex. All other rounds will be played at the home arenas of the teams that are, the home teams in these matchups. And looking at the format, saying here that each year the playoff format changes based on the number of teams in each division. Every team qualifies for the playoffs. 8 teams are required for the quarterfinals. The number of teams that play in the qualifying rounds is determined based on the number of teams required to get 8 teams in the quarterfinals. It is designed so that as few teams as possible need to play a qualifying round. So looking at the divisions, you got the CTV Division 1, which is the Division 1, so the CTV division, the number 2 division, which is the Winnipeg Free Press division, and Division 3, which is High Marketing division. So Yeah, should be an exciting time for high school hockey fans of the female side. So yeah, I'll be able to bring you guys, the report on the scores when the playoffs do happen coming up next week, if there are qualifying rounds, as well as actually giving you guys a good summary of what's been going on in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League playoffs so far. Thinking I might just split in the scores into the series that these teams have played, rather than just going down the list of the schedule of games that have been played, because honestly, that was pretty hard to read. But I will take a look now at if the MFHL, looking at the Winnipeg Abros, if they've reported anything on their Twitter, and yes, they have. So with 11:43 left to go in the third period, the Abros are up 3-0 over the Interlake Lightning, and we'll take a look at the Yellowhead Chiefs scores now, and they are cruising against the Eastman Selects as they are up 6-0. That was reported 5 minutes ago. So taking a look back at the MFHL schedule here for the playoffs, these two teams, the Chiefs, will be in action next. Well, the Chiefs will be in action on Saturday night, of course, so that could very well mean that their playoff series could be coming to an end, as they will most likely put Eastman in a 2-0 hole after tonight's game. And for the Winnipeg Abros, if they are able to finish off their game against the Interlake Lightning tonight with a win, Interlake could very well be done their season come this Sunday. So an exciting time around the MFHL. Playoffs are rolling. Playoffs set to roll, and they have begun in the Zone 4 High School Hockey League tonight. The Winnipeg High School Hockey League, their division, their playoffs are in full force, and of course the Winnipeg Women's High School Hockey League starting up their playoffs very soon in the next week or so. So gonna be excited to report on it all coming up on Tuesday's edition of Coffee with Graeme, of what has happened in the MFHL, as well as in the Winnipeg High School or the Zone 4 High School Hockey League, as well as the Winnipeg High School Hockey League, and yeah, just all the other leagues on the next edition of League Report. But I'm going to take one last commercial break here, folks, and after the commercial break, I'm going to sign off on tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme with some final words. You're watching Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick around for more after this commercial break. Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions, everybody. Just finished this edition of League Report on tonight's edition of the show, updating everyone on what's been happening in all the leagues that we cover here on League Report. Also, to let you guys know, the Hawks Report couldn't get an edition of that in tonight. I already mentioned that earlier on in the show, but if you missed that part of the show where I did say that, was unable to have any of the players on tonight because they were playing a playoff game and against the Winnipeg Ice. So going to be interesting to see on the Hawks Report, depending on, I didn't check the schedule in full, if they will be still playing in their series come next Thursday, or if, the Hawks are moved into the semifinals or if they're going home early here in the playoffs. It should be very interesting to see what happens there. But want to give a special thanks to everyone for tuning in to tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme. I will say, never like to admit this when it does, not go so well, but I would say that tonight's episode was a bit of a letdown in a way, just because of the technical difficulties and, just stumbling through my words and rambling on quite a bit. But, nowhere to go but up, right? So, just got to get better and regroup on the weekend and get ready to rock coming up next week for, an all new edition of Coffee with Graeme, which can be seen on the network coming up next week at 10 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday morning. You can catch that edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions on Facebook, Amateur Sports TV on Twitter, as well as on YouTube, but also on our website at astvproductions.com. Be sure to check out the guest list for that episode, as it will be released on Monday. On our social media platforms, on our Instagram at ASTV Productions, on our Facebook at ASTV Productions as well, and also on our Twitter at Amateur Sports TV. I'd like to thank the two people who joined tonight's episode, and Seth Rach on this week's edition of Seth's Inside Scoop, as well as Laci Gaffray, freshman defenseman, first-year defenseman of the Assiniboine Community College Cougars women's hockey team. I will be getting Landon May as well as Liam Tatuni on next Thursday's edition of Coffee with Graeme, so stay tuned for that. Hoping that I can actually interview these boys this time around, as ran into some technical difficulties tonight with Landon. And can't wait to talk to those boys, hopefully coming up next week on Thursday. But also special thanks to the sponsors of Coffee with Graeme, who sponsored yet another edition of the show. They're fantastic. It was sponsored by AETi, Caisse Financial Group, Evolve Green, as well as Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy and TOVI Hockey. It is the long weekend coming up this weekend, folks. So have a good one. Spend it with your families. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. Stay safe on the roads. I know that there's a blizzard that is going to be hitting Manitoba, so that's not the greatest news. Hopefully our ASTV Productions crew is able to get out to Pilot-Mound, Manitoba, or Manitoba-based ASTV Productions crew, that is. Hopefully we're able to get out there and bring you guys some CSSHL hockey between the Buffaloes and the Northern Alberta Xtreme U15 prep programs. But until next week on Tuesday, folks, have a wonderful rest of your Thursday night. Stay safe out there, stay warm, stay safe on the roads, and have a wonderful long weekend, everybody. Until next time on Tuesday morning next week. I'll see you then, everybody. Graeme Forsyth giving you the salute as well as a peace out here on this Thursday night edition of Coffee with Graeme. Take care, everybody.